Shocking truth. My sister left her baby at midnight and disappeared. Now it haunts me forever. The moon hung low, a ghostly glow smeared across the black sky, casting long shadows across the deserted streets of our quiet town. At midnight, the atmosphere thickened with dread, like a thick fog creeping in, heavy and suffocating. It was that very hour when chaos unleashed its terrifying grip on my sister's life. Her innocent decision to step outside transformed into something sinister, leaving a chilling memory that haunts my every waking moment. The night she vanished, the air was thick with an eerie stillness. Windows rattled with the whisper of the wind, carrying secrets no one dared to speak aloud. My heart raced as I remembered Mom's frantic screams tearing through the silence, reverberating against the walls like a desperate plea for sanity. Every echo was a reminder, the kind that causes a lump to form in your throat. The baby monitor crackled, its sound sharp and unsettling, feeding onto the tension that swirled like an insatiable beast. Then I saw it, the old rocking chair in the corner of the dimly lit nursery. It swayed gently back and forth, an unmistakable rhythmic motion. We hadn't touched it in days, yet there it was, alive with memories of lullabies that now sang a requiem for the innocent. My sister was always wary of that chair. It possessed a corner of our home where shadows danced in the night. I couldn't help but shiver, wondering what had sparked the movement. Fear clutched at my insides. I could almost feel the baby's breath, soft and warm, then suddenly empty in the vast night. As I moved closer, the light flickered ominously. Was it my imagination? The room felt colder, an unnatural chill creeping through my bones. I heard whispers, barely a breath, echoing in my mind. They were taunting me, growing louder, swirling around like gnats in the summer dusk. Where is she? I thought, panic surging. Then there was that moment, a realization that clenched around my heart like a vice. She had said something about following a light. Had it been some distant glow, some otherworldly beacon calling her? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The horror tightened around me like a noose. Every unanswered question twisted the knife deeper. Where had she gone? What was that sound? I turned to the window, the glass reflecting my fear-stricken face. And there it was again, a faint light flickering in the distance, piercing through the dark like a treacherous dagger. As I squinted, a shout caught in my throat. I stumbled back, breathless, my mind racing with what might lie beyond that haunted glow. There was no turning back now. I had to know the truth, whatever it might bring, and how it would unravel the enigma that bound us all. What awaited me on the other side of the door? The door creaked as I pushed it open, a reluctant guardian between me and the unknown. The cool night air washed over me in waves, carrying the smell of damp earth, and something else, something acrid and metallic that sent a chill down my spine. The glow outside seemed to pulse, inviting but ominous, an enchantment wrapped in dread. That I stepped outside, my heart thumping like a war drum. The pavement glistened under the moonlight, each step sounding louder than the last. I hesitated, straining my ears to catch any familiar sound. A child's soft whimper, perhaps? But no, only the suffocating silence returned as tension wrapped tightly around my throat. Wherever my sister was, she had vanished like smoke in the wind, leaving traces of confusion and sorrow behind. Then, I spotted movement at the edge of the field stretching beyond our backyard. The flickering light danced in time with my racing heart, darting in and out of view like a will-o'-the-wisp teasing the adventurer. Perhaps this was the beacon that had called her. Maybe I was closer to unearthing the truth than I dared to hope. But at what cost? The whispers grew louder in my mind, echoing through the rustling leaves. What if it's a trap? A voice screamed within me. The thought made my skin crawl. Yet, the thought of my sister, trapped somewhere far away, needing me, propelled me forward. I had to take the risk. My feet were no longer mine to control. They moved almost of their own volition across the wet grass, Each step heavier than the last. As I crossed the threshold into the field, the light shifted violently, illuminating a series of tall trees ahead. Shadows warped and swayed, transforming into nightmarish figures that stretched across the ground. I blinked, trying to shake the images away, but the darkness conspired against me. The grip of fear turned my stomach into a knot, but I pressed on. The trees stood like sentinels, their branches clawing at the sky. The deeper I ventured, the more distorted the world seemed. The light twinkled, drawing me in like a moth to a flame. I could feel it calling to me, a soft, seductive hum that promised answers. But were they answers I truly wanted? Suddenly, something rustled in the underbrush. My heart leaped, and I spun around, dread pooling at the base of my spine. Out of the bushes emerged a figure. It draped in shadows, face hidden, silhouetted against the harsh glow. "Help me," it croaked, the sound hollow and desperate, like an echo of my sister's voice. Was it her? Could it be? I took a step closer, hands trembling as I reached out. Time slipped away, each second stretching into infinity. "Where is she?" I gasped, lost between hope and despair. The figure shifted, a grin creeping across its shadowy face. "She's closer than you think." A blood-curdling scream erupted through the stillness, freezing me in place. I whipped around, the sound soaring through my veins like ice. The scream, it was a child's terrified cry, unmistakably the voice of my sister's baby. My heart thudded in my chest, panic exploding within. I had to find them. But as I turned back to the figure, it faded into the darkness, leaving only a trail of whispers behind. "The truth lies just before you." What did it mean? How much farther would I have to go? The night stretched out endlessly, and just as quickly as I found courage, dread settled in again. I had to press deeper into the shadows. Tomorrow, I would find the light, even if it meant crossing paths with whoever or whatever was behind it. But now, uncertainty loomed thick like fog. What was waiting for me in the depths of the night? Was it salvation or something darker? The air thickened around me, wrapping my chest in a vice grip, each breath an agonizing reminder of my solitude. The faint cries of my sister's baby echoed in the distance, a haunting melody that pushed dread deep into my bones. That cold sound had always comforted me. Now it felt like a knife twisting in my gut. I strained to hear, searching for a hint of direction. They had to be close. I was sure of it. I took off, my feet pounding against the earth, with every stride pulling me deeper into the darkness. The shadows shifted oddly, shifting shapes that made my skin crawl. A part of me screamed to turn back, but the thought of that tiny voice being swallowed by the night lit a fire within me. I wouldn't stop until I found them. The flickering light danced like a beacon before me, pulsating as if it had a heartbeat, leading me into the heart of the looming trees. Closer I got, and the branches above twisted into jagged claws, reaching down as if they wanted to trap me within their grasp. Thunder rumbled off in the distance, blending seamlessly with the eerie calls of unseen creatures. My heart raced, not just with fear, but with the desperate need to protect my family. Then, it came again, a high-pitched wail that sliced through the tension like glass. My gut twisted as I rushed forward. "I'm coming," I shouted, my voice barely rising above the din of the night. The oppressive atmosphere pressed in on me like a weight. I would not let fear claim me. Suddenly, the night erupted with a series of rustles and low growls. The shadows thickened, forming a wave of darkness that rushed at me from all sides. Panic clawed at my throat. "What do you want?" I gasped, stepping backward, but my feet felt glued to the ground. The shadows closed in tightly, and from their midst, a figure emerged. Similar to the one I had seen before, but more corporeal, more threatening. "You should not have come here," it spoke, voice low and gravelly, dripping with malice. "Where is she?" I demanded, forcing my voice steady. "Where is my sister? Where's the baby?" The creature leaned closer, and I could make out twisted features, eyes like black holes pulling me into despair. "She is part of the shadows now," it hissed, a smirk contorting its face. "And your time is nearly up. The night waits for no one." Hot rage surged through me. "You're lying," I yelled, shoving my fear down. "Tell me what happened." All around, the shadows whispered, a cacophony of mocking laughter that blurred my thoughts. Just then, a sound sliced through the taunting. A child's giggle, sweet but laced with malice, echoed from behind the creature. I froze, bewildered. That giggle shouldn't be here. No, I trembled, heart racing. The creature laughed, a deep, throaty chuckle that sent shivers down my spine. She's here, but not as you remember. It stepped aside, revealing a flickering light that emanated from a hollowed tree. It pulsed with an energy that beckoned, drawing me closer. Before I could process what I was seeing, darkness crashed down around me. The shadows surged like a wave, pulling at me, tangling my feet. Panic clawed at my insides. I fought against it. I wouldn't be trapped. I lunged forward, intent on reaching the light. What I found there, I knew, would determine everything. Just then, another cry burst from the hollow tree, sharper than before. Help me. It was my sister's voice, but it felt twisted, cold, like it was borrowed from somewhere else. Questions tumbled through my mind. Could I save her? What was happening? The pull of the tree was turning magnetic. It was a siren song I could hardly resist. With every ounce of strength, I tore myself free from the grasping shadow. I had to know. I needed to jump into that light, even if it meant facing the darkness that lurked within me. What truth would I discover in that enchanted glow? The answer lay ahead, thick with the scent of fear and hope intertwined. Would salvation emerge from the shadows, or would I find only despair? The light enveloped me like a warm embrace, pulling me forward until my fingers grazed the rough bark of the hollow tree. I hesitated only a moment, heart hammering in my chest. My sister's voice was clearer now, yet it bore an unfamiliar echo. It beckoned me, a melody of desperation woven into the fabric of the night. Help me. The plea rattled through the air, wrapping around my insides like a vice, and still, I felt the shadow swirling around me, hunger lurking in its depths. Just hold on, I shouted, forcing myself to step closer. I could see the glow shimmering like a mirage, pulsating with life. With every inch I took, the shadows writhed, angry murmurs floating around me, mocking my resolve. Then came a voice from behind me, thick with darkness. You really think you can save her? The creature stepped in front of the light, blocking my view. You're chasing a memory. She's not who she was anymore. I felt rage bubble, sizzling just beneath the surface. She's my sister, I yelled, pushing against the growing dread. I know she's in there. I can feel it. I turned to the glowing tree, my only hope standing just past the creature's twisted form. The creature leaned closer, and a fetid breath washed over me. You're misguided, human. You're running toward a truth you're not ready for. A shudder ran through my body. What did it mean? The specter's words rolled through my mind like poison threatening to stain my faith. My sister was everything I had left. I wouldn't let it win. Let me through, I roared, shoving against the barriers of shadow, stretching out toward the flickering light. Get out of my way. The creature laughed, a sound tattered with malice. The light holds what you fear most, the truth of her choices. Are you really prepared to face it? In that moment, I hesitated. I thought about the choices she'd made before she disappeared. The nights spent in silence, the whispers about losing herself, the baby left unattended. Had I failed her long before the darkness took her? No, the thought curled tightly in my gut. I wouldn't doubt her now. I'm coming for you. I surged forward, shoving the creature aside, heart racing as I dove toward the pulsing glow. As I breached the thin veil of shadow, a blinding light exploded around me. I stumbled, but didn't stop. I stepped deeper, heart racing, eyes locked on the wavering figure at the center. The chamber within the tree was alive, swirling with colors I couldn't name. It was a reflection of everything my sister had felt. I blinked, and there she was, her silhouette cradling something small, something precious. But something wasn't right. Her eyes were vacant, hollowed out as if a part of her had already faded away. The baby, still held gently in her arms, looked up with wide, dark eyes that seemed to pulse with the same taint of shadow I had seen in the creature. Sisters forever, she whispered, voice breaking, a promise tangled in despair. You don't understand. Understand what? I pressed forward, desperation clawing at my throat. What is happening? What did you do? The shadows flickered restlessly, the laughter rising like a storm. She made her choice, the creature shouted from the shadows, its voice booming over the chaotic backdrop. Join her, or be consumed. The chamber began to tremble, the light flickering as though caught in a battle against the darkness encroaching at every side. I felt the pull of both worlds, the bright light shimmering with hope, and the consuming stir of shadow driving me to forget. In that moment, what dwelled inside the glow threatened to rip my soul apart with the weight of revelation. I had to choose. Would I save my sister from the darkness, or would the shadows swallow us both whole? The answer hovered just out of reach, teasing the edge of my consciousness. The question remained, what price would I pay for truth? Then a new sound cut through the chaos, of baby's cry, still haunting, but somehow filled with a plea for salvation. Could I do it? Did I have the strength to fight what waited to swallow us whole? Only one thought blared through my mind as everything began to close in. I needed to act now, or we would be lost forever. The chamber shuddered, the air thick with tension. I have to get her out, I shouted to myself, clenching my fists against the rising dread. I took a step forward, willing the light to pull me closer. The baby's cries grew louder, dwindling into soft whimpers, pleading for a mother's embrace. Every instinct screamed at me to run, to retreat back into the safety of the shadows where the creature loomed. But my sister was here. I could feel it, her essence. Her longings and fears swirled within this spectacular light. What happened to you? Each word fell from my lips like a desperate prayer. The darkness writhed, a swirling mass of tendrils reaching out toward me, hungry for despair. Don't you see? The creature hissed, its voice smooth like oil. This isn't a rescue. It's a trap. You'll become part of her suffering. Stop, I shouted, shivering at the thought that this darkness could speak truths I was too afraid to confront. You know nothing of my sister. My heart pounded. There had to be a way through. The light flickered again, revealing more of her. My sister's form spun like a lost star caught in a dark void. I took a breath, struggling against the suffocating shadows that pressed in on me. You're not her keeper. Her choices made her mine, the creature retorted, laughter echoing around the chamber, drowning out the baby's cries. How many nights did you let her slip into darkness? How many times did you ignore the call of her true self? I flinched. Those words pricked bared nerves, layered with guilt and regret. The past loomed large, darkening my resolve. How many nights had she wandered lost? How had I failed to see her descent? No, I replied, steel threading through my voice. You want to twist the truth. I still have a chance. I inhaled deeply, my pulse surging with the warmth of determination. I can save her. I surged forward again. The light engulfed me, and I pushed through the haze of despair, locking onto my sister's vacant eyes. Please, come back to me. Suddenly, the shadows lunged, tearing through the space between us. I felt a cold grip clutch at my throat, squeezing tight. You'll regret this. The creature barked, its breath robbing me of warmth. But in that moment, the flicker of light pulsated brightly, illuminating a path through the chaos. I reached out, desperate, fingers trembling as they brushed against my sister's arm. Fight it, come back to me. Her eyes flickered, dark storm clouds struggling against a glimmer of light. I barely perceived a spark of recognition, a whisper of hope fighting for breath. Help me, she murmured, her voice like glass breaking, fragile and raw. Then let go of the darkness. I cried, feeling the shadows recoil, a violent thrash against my resolve. The baby in her arms stirred, a haunting reminder of what was at stake. The creature shrieked, rage boiling over. No, you can't pull her back. You'll both perish. But I could feel it, the connection between us, a thread drawn tight by love and sorrow. We are not defined by our choices. We have the power to change. I refuse to lose you, not like this. As I shouted, I felt a spark ignite within my sister. The light expanded with a roar, the shadows warping and twisting in anguished retreat. Her eyes shifted from vacant to knowing, the darkness wavering before the light's strength. But time was running out. The shadows were regrouping, rage igniting their hideous forms. They surged forward. Could I hold on? Would the light be enough? In that frenzied moment, a decision loomed ahead like a storm. What if saving her meant facing something even more unfathomable? A truth that could tear us apart forever? As the shadows surged one last time, threatening to snatch away the daughter, the sister, I held tight. And then, just as the darkness erupted, revealing more than I ever expected, I gave everything, but was it enough? Lights surged around me, filling the chamber with a blinding brilliance that fought back the suffocating dark. I felt the warmth wrapping around both my sister and me, protecting us, giving me strength. But the shadows fought back viciously, roaring in fury like a rampaging storm. The air crackled, the tension clawing at my flesh. "Come on," I shouted, my voice straining against the weight of darkness. "You have to remember who you are." Suddenly, a deep rumble echoed through the chamber, like the world itself was preparing to split apart. One last desperate cry from the heart of the darkness sent chills racing down my spine. This creature was not finished yet. With a last surge, it lunged forward, shadows extending like a million grasping hands. I flexed my fingers, the space between us disappearing, when I caught the glint of something small and metallic, the baby's rattle, shining amidst the chaos. The sight ignited something inside me. The rattle was a tether back to reality, a symbol of innocence choked by the tenebrous filth surrounding us. "Look at this," I cried, desperate to pierce through her haze. "This is for you. We can reclaim this." I turned my gaze back to my sister. Her eyes flickered once more, and the remnants of doubt shimmered away, replaced by shadowed pain. "All I wanted was to protect her, but I couldn't," she stammered, her voice barely rising above the swirling chaos. "I thought no," I shouted, interrupting the spiral of insecurity. "You can't blame yourself. This is the creature, this is what it wants you to feel." The shadows tightened their grip around my throat, making it harder to breathe. Desperation clawed at my mind. What was I willing to sacrifice? I realized then what was at stake: everything. My sister. The baby. Us. "Fight, sis. You're stronger than this." I felt the urgency pulsing through me. With every ounce of my will, I hurled the rattle towards her. The moment it passed through the barrier of shadow, a brilliant burst of light erupted from it, scattering the darkness momentarily. I saw my sister's features sharpen as the warmth enveloped her. "No!" The creature shrieked, rage feverishly crackling like lightning. It was losing its grip, and I could almost taste the freedom in the air. "Grab it! Hold on to it!" I yelled, knowing this was our only chance. As she reached for the rattle, the shadows roared, twisting and reshaping into grotesque faces of despair, the very things that had haunted her, taunted her, and now raged because it was losing its power. It churned, a whirlpool of anguish that threatened to swallow us whole. The rattle found her fingers, and instantly the beams of light washed over her, revealing the truth behind the anguish that had consumed her. I saw the recognition, the flicker of her true self reclaiming her essence. But suddenly, the creature lunged again, a tide of despair crashing against our means of escape. I felt the pressure of the world around us. Would this be our last stand? "Let it go? You're not alone," I screamed, voice raw and pleading, as she grasped the rattle tight. A pulse of energy radiated from my sister, crackling through the air. Shuddering, the trails of darkness shrieked, their forms unraveling. "You can't take her. She's mine." The creature's fury lit the chamber ablaze, a final act against the bond of love that threatened to destroy it. I felt my heart hammering against my chest, unsure if love could overpower such darkness. With one final thrust of determination, my sister unleashed a surge of light, sending a shockwave that pushed back the shadows. They slunk away, but I glimpsed a flicker of something darker hiding within them, an escape plan, a deceptive threat. "Hold on." As we stood, battered yet unwavering, my sister's grip tightened. Together, we had defied despair. But deep within, a new question began to spiral. What else was lurking behind the shadows? The darkness had retreated for now, but its echo shimmered in the air like a live wire, shrouding the truth we had yet to confront. What else had my sister sacrificed, and could we truly escape the monster that still had her heart? The chamber was thick with silence, the kind that clings to you like an unwanted shroud. The remnants of light flickered in the air, wavering as if unsure whether to remain or retreat. I clutched my sister's arm, her warmth reassuring amidst the shadows still lurking just beyond our vision. "Is it really over?" she whispered, her voice trembling as she scanned the room, searching for any sign of the creature that had tormented her. I wished I could promise that it was, but deep down I felt the unsettling truth squirming at the edges of my thoughts. "I don't know. We have to move," I urged, pulling her toward the crumbling archway at the far side of the chamber. The towering walls closed in around us, heavy with the weight of what had just transpired. Each step we took felt like we were crossing a threshold into an unknown. Were we running away from the monster? Or were we fleeing the dark revelations I feared our escape might unearth? The rattle still glinted in her palm, a bittersweet reminder that although we had won this battle, the war was far from over. The corridor stretched before us, dimly lit by flickering torches that cast uneasy shadows on the stone walls. I could hear my heart pounding in my ears, a relentless drumbeat of fear and uncertainty. My sister's breathing echoed beside me, matching my rhythm, but I could hear the hitch when she let her thoughts wander. "What else did I leave behind?" she murmured, her eyes glazing over as if she were drifting back into that terrible darkness. The question hung heavy in the air, an anchor weighing us down. "Focus. Remember why we're here. We need to find out the truth," I urged, my voice firm but tinged with desperation. How could we confront what lay ahead if she kept retreating into her own mind? Just as we passed beneath a low archway, a crack in the stone spoke, sending a rumble through the chamber. The very walls trembled as a cold gust whipped through, extinguishing the nearest torch. I stopped dead in my tracks. The darkness that enveloped us felt alive, hungry for more. "Run!" I shouted, adrenaline spiking as the shadows surged again, twisting like a living creature. We rushed down the corridor, our footsteps echoing in the haunting stillness. Each hurried breath was punctuated by an overwhelming urge to look back, but I forced myself to keep moving, to not let fear dictate my actions. "Wait," she gasped, suddenly stopping at a doorway that appeared out of nowhere, its cracked wood beckoning us with a promise or a warning. "I feel something. It's like a grip on my heart." I squeezed her hand tighter, urging her forward. "We can't stop now." But she hesitated, frozen in place. What if it's another trap? What if with a deep breath, I turned back to her? "Whatever it is, we can face it together. We have the rattle. We have each other." In that moment, I saw a flicker of resolve in her eyes, but it was quickly overshadowed by an emotion I couldn't place, something darker, more unsettling. A pulse of energy filled the air, and I sensed it before I heard the whispers. A fleeting memory brushed against my mind, a child's laughter echoing in pain and confusion. What if I can't protect her? The fear in her voice transformed into anguish. What if I forgot? As if summoned by her sorrow, the shadows surged forth, encasing us like tendrils of agony lashing out from the void. I closed my eyes, trying to ground myself, trying to remember the warmth of the rattle's light. "No, this time we fight," I shouted, clutching the rattle with both hands. With a surge of will, I thrust the rattle toward the shadows. Light poured from it, sharp and radiant, pushing back against the encroaching darkness. The whispers escalated into frantic cries, but one voice rose above all, calling out to us with an eerie familiarity. "Leave her," it howled, and I stumbled as realization hit me like a blow. The voice had once been vibrant, innocent. It belonged to the very child my sister had lost. My heart lurched. The connection was undeniable. "Do you hear it?" I gasped, staring into my sister's distraught eyes. "It's her. It's the baby." A chill crept up my spine as I realized the truth. We had only just begun to scratch the surface of what lay beneath the darkness. What had my sister sacrificed? And how far would the shadows go to reclaim what had been lost? There was no turning back now. The shadows flared and shrieked, their fury rising around us like a storm. Each pulse of the rattle sent waves of light into the darkness, creating a flickering battleground where memory and nightmares intertwined. I could feel my sister wavering, her essence caught in a crossfire of grief and desperation. "Focus on me," I shouted above the cacophony. "We have to keep moving." She nodded, but I saw the fear in her eyes, blooming like dark flowers. The voice, the baby's laughter, was a siren's call, beckoning her back toward the memories she'd tried so hard to bury. It was the exact thing she feared, the darkness pulling her under, and I couldn't let it happen. Adrenaline coursed through me as we pressed forward, the glowing rattle guiding us through the endless corridor. The stone walls echoed our haste, reverberating with the horror that loomed behind us. There had been a reason we ventured into this forsaken place, and we needed answers. We reached another door, more tattered than the last, its surface marred by age and neglect. I pushed it open, and the hinges screamed loud enough to drown out the wails behind us. Inside, the atmosphere thickened, and suddenly we weren't alone. Shadows shifted and coiled as they converged with shapes I couldn't quite discern. The dim light played tricks, revealing half-formed figures looming at the edges of my vision. My stomach churned as dread turned to clarity. They were memories, her memories, the things she sacrificed, the moments she buried beneath layers of pain. Look, my voice caught in my throat. A flicker of movement caught my eye, and I stepped closer. An apparition of a little girl danced blissfully in a garden, her laughter like crystal chimes that filled the air with haunting beauty. But as my sister watched, the laughter twisted into sobs, and the sun-kissed scene darkened, becoming a battlefield of despair. No, my sister's whisper cracked like ice. Please, stop. I can't. The rattle's glow dimmed, the shadows inching back, but still relentless. You have to confront this. We can't just let it consume us. Tears streamed down her face as she reached for the glimpse of hope, the ethereal figure of the baby, who still seemed alive in that memory. I'm so sorry. I thought I could protect you, she cried, and the shadows tightened their grip, a sinister response to her agony. Suddenly, the figures became more distinct, showing faces of people she had loved, each one morphing into grotesque expressions of pain, twisting, contorting in rhythm with her emotion. My heart sank. They were not only remnants of the past, they were reminders of her trauma, her decisions coming back to haunt her. We can save her, I screamed, clenching the rattle tighter. But you have to let go of the past, feel it, face it. Only then can we move forward. The cries escalated, a discordant symphony that threatened to crush us. But my sister's resolve flickered, her grief now a blazing fire grounded in determination. With a shuddering breath, she stepped forward, her eyes locked on the ghostly visage of her baby. Stay with me, I urged, aware of how close we danced with the edge of despair. I left you, I'm so sorry. Her words turned into a howl that echoed in the chamber. The shadows hissed, recoiling as she grasped the truth of her past. In that moment, something shifted in the air, a power igniting between us. The rattle burst forth with light, more intense now, creating an ethereal glow that began to push back the darkness. And just as it seemed we might break through, an enormous figure emerged from the depths, cloaked in darkness, its eyes burning into us like twin embers. Flee! It boomed, shaking the very chamber. You think you can escape what you've created? The ground trembled beneath us, the walls blockaded by unveiled fears. I felt the cold sweat on my brow as terror clawed at my chest. What have we awakened? I gasped, the realization striking like cold steel. Whatever it is, we are ready, she shouted, her spirit igniting brighter than the fear that threatened to engulf us. But as the figure moved closer, we knew. We were just beginning to test the edges of what this darkness could unleash. Were we truly prepared for the truth hidden within the shadows? The figure loomed larger, shadows swirling around it like a dark shroud. Its voice echoed in the chamber, a guttural rasp that reverberated against the stone walls. You think lights and truths can banish what lives in your heart? I felt my legs weaken. The rattle pulsed in my grip, flickering with a frantic light that barely illuminated the hulking presence before us. My sister, trembling yet resolute, stared into the abyss of the figure's gaze, her breath hitching as the memories fell like heavy rain around us. Stop, she shouted, defiance igniting her voice. You have no power over me anymore. But the creature comically twisted, its form shifting with her words, contorting and elongating, each movement mocking her earnestness. But I am more than power. I am your truth. Unraveling in fear. What kept you sodden in despair? Suddenly, the floor trembled violently, and jagged cracks opened beneath our feet. My scream echoed, my mind racing as I could feel the ground spreading, threatening to consume us. We had come here for answers, but now the price was rising. Look, I gasped, pointing through the fracture. It's all your past, your choices. Like a macabre puppet show, images cascaded from the cracks. Moments of joy twisted into shadows, smiles shifted into screams. I watched as she faltered, the darkness feeding on her uncertainty. No, she murmured, shaking her head vehemently. I tried to protect you. I thought it was the love that mattered. The shadows swirled, transforming into tormenting visions of lost time, haggard faces of friends long gone, each a testament to her abandonment. I could see the toll on her heart, the guilt that lay coiled like a serpent around her soul. "Let it go?" I shouted, desperate to pierce through her cloud of despair. "We have to face it together." The darkness beneath us recoiled slightly, as if torn between her anguish and the light we emanated. But with each heartfelt word, a pulse of warmth flickered anew. My sister felt it too, the remnants of hope shining brighter through her sorrow. The figure surged forward, lunging straight for her. My heart raced against the anticipation of her collapse. "We are running out of time," I screamed, holding the rattle high. With a fierce resolve, she brought herself forward, the weight of memories resting heavily upon her shoulders. "I will not let you take command of my life any longer," she shouted, and in that moment, she reached into the pit of her fear, a dark vortex swirling with guilt and despair. "I remember you, I remember us. I will not be afraid." The rattle exploded with pure, radiant light, cutting through the shadows like lightning biting through the night sky. The figure shrieked, the cacophony drowning out everything else, collapsing into the swirling void beneath us. But it was too late, we were already falling down into nothingness. I wrapped my arms around my sister, holding her tightly. "Whatever happens, I'm with you." As we tumbled, the light shimmered around us like fireflies in the night. Just then, I saw flashes, visions of our childhood, memories of laughter, the warmth of home. But also blood, cries, and shadows merging together, a deeper truth. "Will we get out of this alive?" she whispered, her voice barely reaching me amidst the chaos, tears glistening in her eyes. "Only if we confront what lies below," I answered, heart racing. And as we plunged into the darkness, one undeniable thought echoed in my mind. What is the ultimate truth my sister fears most? The possibilities loomed, waiting for us below, shrouded in shadow. Would it awaken the horrors, or forge a path to salvation? As they fell, the world around them began to take shape, coalescing from the swirling darkness. Suddenly, their plummet shifted to a soft landing, a breathless sigh echoing in the stillness. There they stood, inside a vast chamber, illuminated by a brilliant light that radiated warmth and hope. It wrapped around them like a familiar embrace, washing away the remnants of fear. The shadowy figure had been vanquished, but the air was still thick with unanswered questions. My sister clutched the rattle tightly, its glow pulsating with a heartbeat, her heartbeat. "Is this it?" she breathed, scanning the luminous space that felt both foreign and intimate. "Look," I pointed, my eyes widening at the sight ahead. Wisps of memories flickered in the shifted light, moments long buried, filled with laughter, tiny hands reaching out, and those joyous early days of motherhood that now felt tainted by shadows. "I remember." She stepped closer, her hand trembling as she reached for the visual tapestries hanging in the air. "These memories, they're beautiful." Hope ignited like a fire in her eyes, but the familiar weight of doubt tugged at her heart. "But what about the darkness?" "The darkness is part of you," I said softly, kneeling beside her as the images swirled and danced, their vibrancy contrasting sharply with the shadows lurking at the edges. "It's time to confront it, not shy away. We can do this together." She inhaled deeply, steadying herself. My baby panic tightened her throat, though the warmth of the light tethered her to this moment. "Will she forgive me?" "Let us find her," I urged, my heart pounding. This was the moment we'd been fighting for. We had breached the veil of despair, we could reclaim what had been lost, and more than that, we could rise above it. "Together," she whispered, her voice trembling but filled with newfound determination. She stepped forward. The images coalesced into something more than fragments. Now they formed a path, leading us deeper into the light, illuminating a soft glow that beckoned in the distance. I knew we were close. The landscape shifted again, sprouting vibrant wildflowers and cascading streams, a living tapestry of memories playing out in real time. There, at the edge of the clearing, in her arms, lay the baby. My heart thudded painfully as the familiar face looked up, bright and curious, with eyes wide and innocent. "Mommy?" The single word pricked my sister's heart, and tears clouded our vision, brightening the space with raw emotion. The weight of guilt fell away slightly, replaced by a fierce resolve. "Come to me," she cried, stretching out her arms. The baby, glowing softly against the dark remnants of past fears, began waddling her way to her mother. every small step resonating with the love that had been long denied. As they fell into each other's embrace, I felt the air shimmer, the fabric of the past pulling away like wisps of fog being burned away by the sun. An explosion of brilliance filled the chamber, swirling around us, mixing happiness with strength. This moment was the healing they needed, the reconciliation that shattered the hold of the shadows. The light pulsed brighter, illuminating even the darkest memories that had haunted us for too long. Guilt and despair, once tangible and overwhelming, now flickered like echoes fading into the past. "It's okay," my sister whispered, her voice steady and unwavering. "I'll protect you, I promise." In that moment, as the past began to dissolve around us, clarity emerged. "You're not defined by your mistakes," I reminded her. "You are defined by your love for her, love for yourself." And as if the universe were affirming our declaration, the surroundings transformed. The shadows that once loomed large grew thin, weakened by the bond we had forged. Laughter filled the air once again, the essence of our family shining brighter than before as the chamber pulsated with a vibrant harmony. But there was one truth remaining, one last weight to confront. What if the darkness comes back? My sister's voice quivered, but the baby nestled comfortably in her arms, a beacon of untainted hope amidst the remnants of their journey. "Then we stand together," I replied, determination swelling within me. We had conquered this phase of our journey, and I could see the horizon stretching before us, a new dawn beckoning. "I'm ready," she affirmed, resolve sharpened by our shared experiences. "Yes, now and always," I shouted, confidence surging within our hearts. The energy shifted once more, light cascaded around us, illuminating the way ahead. As we stepped forward, hand in hand with the raven-haired baby wrapped snugly between us, the shadows behind us melted away like morning mist, clearing the way for a future filled with promise. The journey had forged us anew. We were no longer defined by the darkness that had once enveloped us, but united by the love that would carry us forward. Each step was imbued with years of struggle and moments of realization, both beautiful and haunting. But we would face what came next together, our spirits renewed, an unbreakable trio with love blooming endlessly. And in that moment of clarity, I knew we had written a new story, one filled with resilience, courage, and unyielding love. Now, our collective truth would shine brightly, guiding us into the next chapter of our lives, free from the darkness once and for all. If you've enjoyed this emotional journey, you need to subscribe now. Don't let another moment pass you by. Join our community, smash that like button to support, and keep us alive with these exclusive stories. Flood the comments with your thoughts about our ending. Tell us how you think this story unfolds and share this video with at least 5 friends who absolutely need to see this conclusion. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second. Together, let us keep these stories coming and find solace in their magic.